All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. May we look at another industrial process as we have been looking at some industrial processes. Chemistry is the subject for today. May we look at another industrial process and we proceed. So, for those people who have just joined us, make sure that at least you try to go through and search for what we have been looking at. We looked at manufacture of ammonia. We also looked at manufacture of sulfuric acid. Today, we'd like to look at another industrial process, and that is manufacture of soap. Probably in the next session, we shall look at manufacture of soapless detergents. You know, detergents are divided into two categories. When you talk about a detergent, talk about anything that can enhance the process of cleaning. So in this case, we are talking about a soap or a soap detergent. So we want to manufacture soap. So in the next section, we'll manufacture soapless detergent. Then let us look at manufacture soap. There are very many things we use at home. Sometimes we use them under different aspects. However, how can we be able to obtain them? Today we want to see how can we be able to manufacture soap in this case. As usual, for these processes, we need the raw materials and the rest of the other steps. So we shall begin with the raw materials. Which raw materials do we need under manufacture of soap? Raw materials. The raw materials for manufacture of soap, probably here we shall deal with the something. We can talk about the vegetable oil, or in case vegetable you don't have vegetable oil, you can also use fats, probably animal fats. Those ones you can be able to use them. So we can talk about vegetable oil. Now, as we talk about vegetable oil, what are some of the sources of vegetable oil? Someone can instead, if you don't have the vegetable oil already extracted, you can be at the point as maybe when you just have a source of the vegetable oil, meaning you have to squeeze it to take it through a certain process and you be able to get the vegetable oil out of that source. So, for example, with sources of vegetable oil, we can have groundnut seeds. You can have groundnut seeds. Those ones are good sources of vegetable oil. Or you can have other sources of oil. For example, palm oil. Among others that you can be able to talk about because they are very many now. So long as you can be able to obtain or to extract the oil from that, then each and everything will be fine. Now, when you look at these ones, someone can either decide to just write vegetable oil and proceed with that in the explanation, or a human being can be able to write groundnut seeds. But when you write groundnut seeds, it means that you are able to tell the person how are you going to treat those groundnut seeds like that you reach a point when you already have the vegetable oil out of the groundnuts what seeds. For example, in case you have groundnut seeds, you have to roast them. Maybe now that's your first process. That's the first step. You have to roast the groundnut seeds. You grind such that you obtain a what? A paste. You boil in water such that at the end the vegetable oil floats on the what? On the surface, and you skim off. By that process, you already have the vegetable oil. Then you take the vegetable oil into another step. So, depending from where you have started from, then you can be able to come up with what you want. So in case you have bonuses, it means that you have to tell someone how are you going to extract the vegetable oil from that groundnut what seeds. Or in case you have palm, any palm seed, maybe you can be able to tell someone how to get the oil out of it. So if someone is already having the vegetable oil, then you just get that vegetable oil and you explain what you want. Or in case you are not talking about the vegetable oil, there are also other things like animal fats. So someone can talk about the animal fat. Now, there are very many animals that can be able to give you what? to give you fats. So it depends on the one of your own choice. So in this case, we are talking about the animal fat. Now, how can you be able to deal with it? The animal fat, that one means that you have to first melt it. After all, the fat will be in solid what? Solid state at room temperature. So you have to first melt it. In others, you have to heat it, or else you can use any other thing to increase on its what? To increase the temperature on it, such that it can be able to turn from the solid into a what? Into a liquid. That's what we are talking about as an animal fat in that case. Now, when you are explaining, provided you are telling someone, you first handle one. You only use one. You don't use all because there is no way you'll be able to explain all of them. So if you are talking about vegetable oil, now you go with vegetable oil. If you have chosen animal fat, then you go with animal what? Animal fat, but not both. You decide on the explanation, but you have to use only one. If you have chosen this one, maybe groundnut seeds, then you write groundnut seeds. Then at the end, you'll be able to tell the person how you are going to get the vegetable oil out of the groundnut seeds. Okay, what are some of the corresponding raw material that will follow these ones? We can talk about concentrated sodium hydroxide. We can talk about concentrated sodium hydroxide solution. Another one. You can have concentrated sodium chloride solution. This one, sometimes people call it brine, or it's also another name for it. So this is concentrated sodium chloride solution, concentrated sodium hydroxide solution, then a vegetable oil. Or you can decide on which one to use in this case. Now, after you have your raw materials, how are you going to mix these raw materials to come up with the desired product, the one we are calling a soap? Let us see. We shall talk about that one under process of production. Under process of production, now we have the raw materials. How are we going to deal with these raw materials such that we come up with the desired product, the one we are calling soap? Now, first of all, you need to know which one are you going to start with. Then after, what are you going to bring? Then when I mix the two, which one am I going to get? What's the final product that I'm going to get? Then does the product that I get, does the product that I will get undergo further reactions or not? Those are some of the questions you have to ask yourself before you explain. Then after, where are you going to mix it from? We normally call that one a vessel. In which vessel are you going to consider? For example, you can't do a process of heating and you are talking about heating, but when you are using a plastic container, you can't heat within a plastic what? A plastic container. That one should be put into your mind when you are heating. You will not say that and heated in a plastic what? Container. So when you are talking about a vessel, you are directing someone, you should be at least very clear, because even a layman, even someone who doesn't know that knows that when you sit in a plastic container will not survive. So in this case, let us talk about, first of all, the process of production. We begin with our vegetable oil. We begin with our vegetable oil. Now, what are we going to do? If you are, I said, if you have groundnut seeds, you have to tell someone how you are going to get the vegetable what? Oil from the groundnuts. For example, I told you that you roast the groundnut seeds. The groundnut seeds are roasted, then grinded, in this case, after to obtain a paste. Now, after obtaining a paste, the paste is now heated in water, not until the vegetable oil floats on the surface of water, and after it is skimmed off. Now you go. So what we are going to consider here, we are assuming we have already the vegetable oil. If you don't have it, then you start from what you have. That's what we are talking about. Now, the vegetable oil is heated with concentrated sodium hydroxide solution. We are talking about concentrated sodium hydroxide solution, not sodium hydroxide. Or not concentrated sodium hydroxide alone. We are talking about concentrated sodium hydroxide solution, meaning you already dissolve the parts of sodium hydroxide to obtain a solution, but when it is highly concentrated. Vegetable oil. First step. You add concentrated sodium hydroxide solution. When you heat the two, vegetable oil is heated. Vegetable oil is heated with concentrated sodium hydroxide solution. So in this case, we are going to do what? To heat. Then after heating, what is going to happen? We shall heat not until the vegetable oil dissolves in sodium what? Hydroxide solution, or until a uniform mixture is formed or a solution is formed. So the mixture is heated until the vegetable oil dissolves in the concentrated sodium hydroxide solution. Now, after dissolving, the solution you obtain at the end, or the uniform mixture, the uniform mixture you'll be able to obtain at the end, you can allow it to cool a little bit. So when you allow it to cool, after, you do what? You add concentrated sodium chloride solution. When you add concentrated sodium chloride solution, what is its use? Its use is to precipitate out the soap. Because when you heat this one and this one, you obtain the uniform mixture. This uniform mixture is for soap. This is a soap solution. Then after, but it will be in solution form. Remember, when you are preparing soap, you will be always, someone will be interested in the what? In the solid state of it. So you add concentrated sodium what? Chloride solution. The chemistry is here because of the common iron effect and so on. The introduction of sodium what? Iron is within the what? The solution will lead to the precipitation of soap. So, and the soap is precipitated. Then someone can go into further. You can either try to purify it, you can disinfect, you can add disinfectants, you can add substances that can bring in colors, you can add perfumes and so on, depending on what you want. But so long as you have reached the point of interest. Now we are explaining what we have written here. We are saying that when you are explaining the vegetable oil is mixed with the concentrated sodium hydroxide solution, and the mixture heated until a uniform mixture is formed, which is a soap solution, of course, in a boiler. Now you have talked about where someone is going to do what? Where you are going to put your mixture in a boiler. Then the concentrated sodium chloride solution is added to the mixture after it has been left to cool, to precipitate out to soap. Then other substances that can add in colors can be added, perfumes, and also disinfectants can be added to the soap. That's what we have. Then soap can be taken into other processes to come up with the shapes like a bus and so on. That's what we have as the process that involves the manufacture, or that leads us to soap when we are producing it. Now, after, as we say, we can't just produce something without a reason. So we shall talk about what we are calling social benefits. And we shall also end with side, or you can also talk about side what? Side effects. We say that these ones here will be for the process of what? Production. All these ones will be for the process of what? For the process of production. These ones here. So in this case, when you talk about social benefits, you are going to look at the process of production. If you are manufacturing, so how the manufacturing plant help? The side effects. What are some of the side effects? What are some of the challenges you are most likely to face during the what? During the process of production. So in this case, let us talk about the social benefits first. These ones are always clear. Everyone knows that when it comes on ground and it is a manufacturing plant for soap, we are producing soap on large scale, it needs workers. Now those workers will not work for free, but they will get salary at the what? At the end. That salary, it will help them to increase on their level of income, which will help them to improve on their standards of what? Of living. That's now a point. Also at the same time, a government will have to impose tax on the commodities that are produced in there. Or else it will also have pay as what? As you earn to the what? To the workers. So in this process, we shall end up having source of government is what? Revenue. When it comes to what? Social benefits. Source of government is revenue through the taxes imposed that can increase on the government is what? Income that can help in the what? In the development of some infrastructures maybe. You can give an example already, you know one? Then when we talk about side effects, we look at what we are producing. We are producing soap. Now, during the process, what will happen? You can first of all look at the chemical that we are using. We are using concentrated sodium hydroxide solution. We are using concentrated sodium chloride solution. We are also using the oils and so. When you look at them, is there anything that can be not friendly to a human being in case it can reach your skin? You can look at all these ones. What happens when you are dissolving sodium hydroxide? The process, first of all, is what? Is exothermic. Is it okay? So that one alone can lead to what? To problems. So in case you go into contact with it, and probably sodium hydroxide should not reach, concentrated, it shouldn't reach your what? Your hands. So in this case, you can bring the point of chemical spills on the what? On the skin. It can cause a certain injury, and that one can be mitigated by maybe proper use or putting on personal protective gears. In this case, that one is a point. However, also you can talk about other things depending on what you have looked at as a point to talk about in this case. So for that matter, therefore, allow us, and here we have talked about the process that involves manufacture of what? Of soap. We all explained from raw materials, process of production, side effects, and social what? Social benefits. Those are some of the major concepts we need to know about the manufacture of soap or all industrial processes as we have talked about it. At this juncture, allow us end here for today. We are saying that don't miss the next session. It will be about the manufacture of soapless what? Detergents. We shall go like that, not until we finish the most important ones at the moment. At this particular juncture, wish you the best.